Alright guys, what's going on? Overkill999 here, back with another video. I know it's been a little bit. In today's video, we will be going over the 2.20 release notes for Jurassic World Alive. So this is called the Isla event update. Update 2.20 brings new creatures, including a new fusible apex, Isla events, and battle improvements, and more. So, okay, what's new? Got new creatures, new abilities, new Isla events, new armor effects, new achievements, and new creature rotations. So that's like 6 things that are coming to this update. So let's go ahead and look at some creatures here. So we have Panthera, which is one of the 4 lethal Atrociraptors bred to kill on command, and it is swift enough to pursue a speeding motorcycle across long distances and deadly enough to take out whoever may be riding it. Let's see, so the first move we have looks like it's a retreat, so I'm assuming it's going to be a priority cleansing spot move. So you can use it priority, they'll cleanse, and then you'll be able to swap. Interesting. And then you have Berserk Clawed Revenge, as well as Berserk Biting Revenge. So Berserk Clawed just looks like a precise Berserk Rampage, and then Berserk Biting Revenge seems to be a fierce Berserk Rampage, and then no escape. And then you have Panthera Bilethi. Let's see, this ancestor of modern snow leopard lived in the mountains of Tibet roughly 6 million years ago. Cool adaptations of this predator in this mega vinyl prey perfectly suited the later Pleistocene Ice Age, making Tibet a cradle of Pleistocene megafauna. So it's a cunning cannon. Okay. Debilitating Strike. We know what that does. That's a 75% distraction. Evasive Hunt. It almost looks like camouflage, so that'll be interesting. Cunning Rampage, you know what that does. And then Precise Double Strike. That is that's what Microraptor has. It just attacks twice, and then it's also a double attack. And then the Swift Winning Swap In. Now I'm not sure if this is I'm assuming it's speed decrease. Then medium nullify counter. Okay. But Spinoceratops is something that I'm actually really looking forward to this update. Let's see. And it is from Camp Cretaceous, if I believe. Let's see. Spinoceratops and Spinosaurus Gen 2. A peaceful Spinoceratops is actually an omnivore, feeding on plants as well as fish, just like the Piscivorous Spinosaurus. And let's see, it's a fierce and resilient anti-tank tank. So it's got heavy strike, which is what Arctalces has. Let's see, it has brace. And hold on. I'm pretty sure that's armor increasing. Hold on. New abilities, armor effects. Let's see, so we have armor decrease and armor increase. Armor effects will be added to some creature released in 2.20. Check the list below. Over time, these effects will spread to more new and familiar creatures. Watch out for more and don't hesitate to give your thoughts on these new effects on Discord. Okay. So that would mean that brace increases armor and heals you, and a cleanse. Lethal wound, that's what Spinosaurus has, and then instant rend. Suave and stunning strike and stunning obstruction. This is what Thorax has. And then this is like what Spinoceratops has. Now we have Atrocidistus, which is red, and Trigodistus. Let's see, the feet, claws, head, and tail can all become weapons, but its most curious feature is its occipital horn. Mature Atrocidistus bond by sharpening these horns against each other, a unique behavior specialists have only observed in this hybrid. And then you got, so it's a cunning and resilient distractor. So it's got tough group cunning strike. Let's see, accelerating shielded distraction, sheltering impact, and Berserker Resilient Rampage. So Berserker Resilient Rampage and Accelerated Shielded Distraction are both from red. And then it's got Tough Group Cunning Strike, which is what Paraceuthops and Dillarach have. It's just a cutting attack, but targets all opponents. And then Sheltering Impact. I'm assuming it's like the move Shelter, but it's an impact. So you heal on priority. Yeah, it's a priority heal. That's also an impact. And then Precise Counter, which is what Gigaspikosaur has. And it is just a full counterattack that goes through dodge and cloak. And then Priorixis, which is Ghost and Priosuchus. Priorixis means Firebreaker. It's a fitting name for this wild Atrociraptor hybrid, which has been observed ramming prey with its own head down, shattering bones before attacking with teeth and claws. A cunning and fierce nullifying dodger. So Dispersed Cautious Strike. I'm assuming this is a Cautious Strike, but a group move, similar to what Ghost has. Greater Nullification. That just looks like a non-priority nullifying move. Instant Precise Impact. So it's like an armor-piercing impact. That's precise. And it's also priority. And then Berserk Decimating Wound. Let's see. Berserk Decimation is what Ghost has. So I'm guessing this is similar, but it wounds. Then Swap and Nullification, which is pretty simple. Swap in and nullify. Ferocious counter stun. So I'm guessing you increase attack and you can stun your opponent with no escape. And then Geminitis, which is the one that most people have been wanting for a long time in this game. Let's see. Okay. Swap that back over. Let's see here. So it's Gemini Titan and Stegodeus. So Geminitis are usually found in pairs, appearing at dusk on the fringes of groups of other sauropods. Remarkably, these mysterious titans split from the partners as night falls, traveling alone until they reunite in locations unknown to specialists. It's an anti-flock tank, so it'll probably have a lot of group moves that go through dodge. So slowing, resilient strike. This is like the oldest resilient strike before 2.8, where it just decelerates and it does all the current effects. Oh wait, and if it gives vulnerability, that will actually be really interesting. So group disarming rampage. Let's see here. It looks like a group rampage. Group decelerating rampage that also distracts. Let's see. Shielded alert rampage. Looks like a definite shield advantage. Wait. Is it definite shield? Yeah, it's definite shield advantage. So that'll be interesting to see what that does. And then harden. Let's see. Impact, cleanse, and increased armor. Okay. Then the precise group counter. Let's see here. It looks like it's a precise move. It might actually be the first counter in the game to be a group attack. And it increases armor. So you have the armor that Geminitis is going to have from Stegodeus. And on top of that, you can do Harden and then Precise Group Counter to increase your armor. So this thing may just be a living tank. Let's see, new abilities. Precise Group Counter. Increase armor 10%, 4 attacks, 2 turns, and target all opponents. Attack 1 times, bypassing dodge. Okay. So it does indeed bypass dodge, and it is a group attack. And it increases armor by 10%. Slowing resilient strike. Let's see, cleanse damage reduction. Let's see, target high speed, remove dodge, remove cloak, and speed increase. Attack 1 times, invulnerable, which is what resilient strike currently does. And then it also speed reduces, so that's good. And group disarming rampage. Target all opponents, attack 2 times, reduce damage and speed by 33% for 4 attacks lasting 2 turns, and reduce armor 15% for 2 attacks lasting 1 turn. So not only can this thing increase its armor, go through dodge, go through cloak, target all opponents, decelerate, make them vulnerable, or distract, but it can now remove armor. This thing's gonna be amazing. Shielded alert rampage. So when you're secure, target all opponents, remove shields, dodge and cloak, bypassing armor, and 50% shields for 4 attacks lasting 2 turns. So it's basically, so unsecured is basically like a group definite shield advantage, but when it's threatened, it's priority, and it targets all opponents. But instead of 50% shield, it's now 100%. So I guess it's just like a group invincibility combined with definite shield advantage. That's an interesting combo. And then Harden. So, increased armor 50% for 4 attacks lasting 2 turns. Cooldown 2, delay 1. Angel targets highest HP. Highest HP, attack 1.5. Yeah. So, let's see, you have the 50% armor increase. And then you have the precise group counter, which can stack for 2 turns. So already, that's like what? 70% armor? And then you have whatever armor Gemini DS is going to have already from Stegodus. So we're looking at probably 80% armor, probably somewhere around there. That's really good. Yeah, and then you have Ferocious Counterstun. So after you get attacked, you have a 66% chance to stun, and you increase damage by 25%. So, honestly, not a bad counterattack. Dispersed Cautious Strike. So you target all opponents, attack 1 times, bypassing dodge, reduce damage 50%, 2 attacks lasting 1 turn, and then 75% chance to dodge. Yeah, so it's basically a group Cautious Strike. Brand Nullification. Let's see. Reduce damage 50% for 4 attacks less than 2 turns, and it nullifies. So I guess it's just like a non-priority alert nullification. Berserk Decimating Wound. Attack last is interesting, but it is a 2.5 times attack that removes shields, bypassing armor. So there's the Berserk Decimation, and it'll bleed. Okay. Interesting. Instant Precise Impact. Pretty self-explanatory. That's not a new move. So Brace. So let's see. So it heals 100% of your damage stat, and it'll increase armor by 50%. Which the Sino, and that's for the Spinoceratops, I believe. Yeah. So that thing's gonna have armor already, plus this armor. So maybe 60, 55 armor probably. Instant Rend. Let's see here. Okay, so it's basically a priority rending takedown. Sheltering Impact. Target highest damage opponent. Attack 1.5 times. Cleanse and heal 2.5. Okay. Heal 2 times. So it heals. It's an impact. That's pretty much. And it's priority. Okay. So retreat. It's priority, cleanse, and automatically swap. Which is for Panthera. But whenever you use a Berserk move, you get locked down. So I guess after you get locked down, you can just automatically swap out. Oh, for all opponents. Attack 2.5 times, bypassing dodge. And you sacrifice 30 33% of max HP, and you're unable to swap. And on Revenge, you target all opponents, attack 2.5 times, bypassing dodge. But there's no sacrifice. So on Revenge, you don't sacrifice any health whenever you use the Berserk move. And even if you aren't on Revenge, you can do the Berserk move, and then you can just leave right out, targeting all flocks. So this thing could actually be a pretty good flock Revenge killer. And then you have Berserk Biting Revenge. Attack 2.5 times by pressing armor. Okay. So this is just like a Berserk Decimation like Ghost has. But on priority, same thing as above, you don't sacrifice any health. Evasive Hunt. You increase damage, increase speed, and you have a 100% chance to dodge 100% of damage. So honestly, not a bad move. You get a nice attack boost. Okay, what is this increase speed? So it attacks 1 times. So it's a swapping attack. You bypass dodge, and you increase speed, and and you bleed for 2 turns, but you're unable to swap. So shouldn't this be a yellow arrow going the other way? Actually, these are all moves. Hold on. Before that, though, we must check out creature updates. Bajundasukas. It's getting a disarming counter strike and taunting defense. Let's see. So disarming strike. Where's that at? Oh, right here. So attacks 1 times, and it'll reduce armor. Okay. Then taunting defense is the other one. Which, so increase shields and armor 50% for 4 attacks lasting 2 turns. So actually, this is going to make Bajundasukas quite bulky. So that'll be interesting to play around with. And Dimodactylus. I'm not too sure how I feel about this. Because it's swap and wound, because swap an armored wound. So if I look, swap an armor wound, you get DOT, like it usually does now, but this time you increase armor. So this isn't big of a deal. You get the armor increase whenever you swap in. So it just makes it a bit more bulky whenever you use that move. And then it's getting its counter change to become disarming counter strike, which is what Bajundasukas has, I believe. Yeah, it'll attack 1 times, and then it'll reduce armor. So what I'm curious about is if it will reduce armor and then attack, or attack and then reduce armor. But we will have to see. Let's see here. And then Fierce Strike becomes Disarming Strike. Disarming Strike. Right here. Alright, lowest HP. Attack 1 times and reduce armor 50% for 2 attacks lasting 1 turn. So again, I'm wondering, is this going to reduce armor and then attack? Or will it attack and then reduce armor? Because I may actually prefer a Fierce Strike over this move. Because in all honesty, what's the point of reducing armor if you could just go straight through it? And now, it can't even cleanse vulnerability anymore. So I feel like this move is a bit of a nerf for Demodactylus. Because it no longer has the ability to break shields. Which means that it'll be a bit less of a revenge killer. And if it does attack last, then it'll be even more or less ever of a revenge killer against the new Scorpion, Pulmono Scorpius, I believe, in Epic Tourneys. So, a bit iffy on Diamond Act, but Impact and Run becomes Disarming Impact and Run. Attack. So it'll reduce armor. But this isn't much of a change. Impact and Run already had this, but it'll just reduce armor as you impact and run. So the only things that I personally am a bit uncomfortable with, I'd say, is just the addition of Disarming Strike, and then removing the armor piercing counter from Diamond Act. But maybe it'll make up for it with a bit more bulk in the swap and move, but we will have to see. Aside from that, we have Alloraptor, who's getting swap and Disarming Strike. Look. Swap and Disarming Strike. But here, you reduce armor and then attack. Yeah, here you reduce armor by 100. Reduce armor 100, 5 attacks, 3 turns, attacked 1 time. So it reduces armor and then attacks. So then, how come here you attack and then reduce armor? And then here, attack, reduce armor. Here, you attack and then reduce armor. Ludia is just very inconsistent with their moves, apparently. And then on Escape, Evasive Strike has been added with a solid buff. Cunning Strike becomes Ferocious Cunning Strike, and Rampage becomes Cleansing Rampage. So we'll no longer have Rampage turn 1. So you'll have to wait until turn 2 to actually use any of these attacks. But however, you will have a solid attack buff. So that's good. Actually, is Ferocious Cunning Strike even in the new moves? Ferocious Cunning, Ferocious Cunning, Ferocious Cunning. Actually, don't think it is, surprisingly. But anyways, let's see. Health buff, that's pretty solid. A massive speed buff. 126 to 130. That's actually really fast. The more I think about it. And for something that big, just damn. And then critical chance from 30%. Oh, this was Alloraptor. I thought this was Mammalania. Oh, never mind. This makes perfect sense then. I'm an idiot. But, okay. And critical chance, that's pretty solid. So overall, Alloraptor, pretty solid buff. The Demodax, on the other hand, I'm a bit more iffy on the Demodax buff. It's buff in certain areas, but I also see it as a nerf in others. But we will just have to see what happens. But only 50% only 50 extra damage, and 34 and an extra 300 health. Honestly, it's become more bulky, so I'm a bit iffy on the Demodoc buff. But Mammalinia, on the other hand, counter ferocity added. Let's see, counter ferocity, price, counter ferocity. So self increased damage by 20%. Let's see. Okay, so with Mammalinia, you get a 20% counter, a 20% damage bonus, and you get ferocity on escape. Which, if I scroll back up here, ferocity on escape. Okay, so it'll just increase your damage even more. Alright. So not bad. Persistent First Strike becomes superior vulnerability. And then Taunting Bellow becomes Bellowing Impact. So Bellowing Impact is just like Bellow, speed decrease, priority, shield. Except, I'm pretty sure it's priority, right? Nope. So, no more priority, but it does attack 1.5, and it does decrease speed, and it does increase shield. Wait, no, it decreases speed. My bad. So Mammalinia, solid buff. You get the check of approval. Let's see, Draco's Rat. Now, Swap and Savagery becomes Swap and Cunning Impact. I couldn't see that as a pretty solid buff, if I'm being honest with you. It's got more swap and damage now, which is always a good thing. Especially with that nasty attack. Swap and Savagery, I don't know. It just didn't really seem to fit it well, if I'm being honest. Cunning Strike becomes Debilitating Strike, which is the 75% Distracting Strike, essentially. So, wait, so then what's the point of debilitating? Hold on, I just had a thought. What's the point of debilitating distraction whenever you can simply just have a debilitating strike? They do the exact same thing. Except the only difference being that debilitating distraction lasts longer. I don't get that. But Acute Stun becomes Bristling Stun. Bristling Stun. Where is it? Oh, right here. So it's a priority. For highest damage opponent, remove attack and critical increases. Alrighty. Okay. So you reduce damage 75% for 4 attacks less than 2 turns. In critical chance, 100. Okay, so it'll reduce damage in critical chance with a 100% chance to stun. And it'll cleanse with a cooldown of 2. So essentially, it's like alert notification and it's alert state with the 75% damage reduction. Actually, here's a better way to put it. It's like a priority debilitating distraction with the cunning aspects of removing crit chance and removing attack and critical increases. And it'll just cleanse. So overall, solid buff. Solid move change. But then you also have the stat buffs, which honestly are pretty good. This is a massive health change. 3,900 to 4,500. That's 600 HP, which is really nice. An extra speed boost can't hurt, and neither can some extra armor. And reduced damage. So, basically, you cannot really distract this thing. You cannot reduce its crit chance. It's got a slight DOT resistance now. So honestly, Dracocerat, pretty solid buff. You also get the check of approval. And then the Bear King. Well, the Arctic Blast gains 30% armor reduction in its threatened state. So, it gained a 200 HP buff, 50 extra damage, and 10% extra armor. So overall, a slight yet decent buff. And now, for the last thing that I wanted to cover in today's video, we get the Isla events. Players level 3 and up can find the new Isla event tab inside the battle menu, where battle tracks with special opponents will appear for a limited time. Defeat these opponents using a team of creatures found in ongoing events. So can you only use creatures from events to win? If so, that'll be really interesting actually. Fight wisely, because creatures can't be brought back into battle once they're defeated. Plus, your creatures and opponent's creatures will retain all damage taken from the duration of the event. Okay. So, from what it looks like here, it looks to be that your creatures get, I would assume they get upgraded stats, seeing as how their health has been increased here. The first one will be December 14th. So, really excited for this update. Overall, it seems like a really solid update. Some solid creatures. You got some creatures that I'm really looking forward to unlocking. And then you have the Isla event, the introduction of armor abilities, and then some really solid buffs to some creatures. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. So, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you would like to see any more videos like this in the future, because it will really help me out. And that's all I got planned for today's video. So, Overkill 999 out.